And then it has been mixed with worship, with Pentecostal way of doing things. You know, so we're having a blend. This morning we're here to talk about our health, nutrition. I have some slides. I don't know, can you project for me? Slides. How do I get it to you? Can I send it to you by email? Okay. What's the email address, please? Okay, so while we're doing that, I'm looking around, I'm looking at people in this place, and I'm seeing a lot of healthy people. And I'm also seeing... So I'm assuming that a lot of people have, they've got the gist about health. So what I'm saying today will not really be new to everybody, but it will be a recap for many. Some things will be, I hope that some things will be an eye-opener for many. And why am I saying that? My journey in Canada, so while we're getting the slides over, I'll tell you a quick story about what happened to me. So I came into Canada like 5 years ago, 2018, I started my journey. And so before then, as a child, we used to travel abroad. And, you know, when people say I'm looking for African food, I'm like, after leaving Nigeria, I'm looking for amala. Not possible. I want fries, I want burger, I want shawarma, I want pizza. You know, and that's how I grew up as a child. So now coming here as an adult, you know, I came with my usual mentality. And you know, in Nigeria, we don't have fresh yogurt, chocolate biscuits, Pringles, Lay's, they're so expensive. Ice cream, pancake that you just put in the microwave, you don't have to start with flour and milk and mixing it. And so I lived on that. And I looked down at African diet. And then suddenly, one day I ate, and my eye was this swollen. And I'm like, is this in the air? Maybe I have Apollo. So I'm a doctor. You know, it has to be Apollo now. Then it went. And then the next day I ate, and I was scratching myself. And I was coming out in wheels, you know, bumps. And after a while, maybe about a week of this thing happening over and over, then I went to the doctor. People told me, take a picture of what's going on. But by the time you get to the doctor, you may not have those same things. You know, so I took a picture. So I went to my doctor. My doctor is white. And I told him what was going on. He didn't understand. Then I showed him the picture. And immediately he started writing medication. And then said, do some tests. I ran all the tests. I went to the specialist. They couldn't find what was wrong. Then they said, autoimmune. You know, so one day I was now talking to my sister. She's a professor of medicine. And I told her, she said, Shola, do you know the preservatives they use over there is very close to formalin that we use to preserve corpses? Go check what you are eating. You know, and it was like an eye-opener for me. I looked in my fridge. Everything there must have had preservatives in them because I bought them in the store. Because I put up my nose to African diet. So I stopped everything. I went to African store. I bought gari, I bought efo, I bought, you know, and I cooked African food. Amazing. I didn't react. So I realized something. What I was reacting to was preservatives. The second thing I was reacting to was sugar. The third thing I was reacting to was things that were not fresh, you know. And so I started to read labels very well. Because of course I've gained a lot of weight shape. And I started looking for how to find what is the nutritional value of what I'm eating. So the slide is up. Can we? So you have to move it for me. I'll tell you next. Thank you. So we're talking about nutrition and healthy living. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to use this outline. What is nutrition? What do we mean by nutrition? What is healthy living really? Who defines it? What exactly is health? The impact of nutrition on our health, the impact of our culture on our health and our nutrition, and then we prioritize healthful living. Next slide, please. So what is nutrition? From the slide up there, you can see some pictures. One of them looks very green and colorful. Everything in there is nutrition. On the other side are the things that I used to love, my old love. Those ones are not nutrition, those ones are junk. I don't know if you know about it, but I used to love them. And I'm sure a lot of the children here still love them. Abby? Does anybody love them? Please, somebody show me. Am I alone? Where is the picture? I see. All the children, identify with me. The things on the right hand side. Chocolate covered donuts, ice cream, chocolate, butter, fries, sugar, Coke, Fanta, orange juice. All of those things. For anybody whose heart is breaking, my own too broke. It's okay, welcome to the club. You know. Meanwhile, on the other side, we have some very boring things. Carrots, broccoli, cauliflower, tomato, green, happy. They're not sweet. And a lot of us were brought up with a sweet tooth. So we identify with certain things. My soul cries out to certain things. You know. And so when we look at what is nutrition, we're talking about balance. We're talking about balance. We will define nutrition as the process of providing or obtaining the food necessary for health and growth. It's about eating a healthy and balanced diet. Now, what's a balanced diet? It's rich in nutrients, in vitamins and minerals that fuel our body with what it needs. Food are most nutrient dense when they are fresh. So for those who grew up in Nigeria, I don't know if you ever went to buy ugu frozen in the supermarket. You went to the market and you bought it. If you are lucky, you even bought fish that the fishermen brought that day. You didn't necessarily, when they show you frozen fish, you say, Okoeko. They know why they mentioned Oku before they. And you know, when you leave Lagos and you go up country, you go to Calabar, you go to Uyo, you go to the riverine rivers, they don't eat Titus fish frozen. They give you fresh, I did my youth in Uyo, they give you fresh fish. So, freshness is important. Why? Because for you to preserve, you have added something. Additives, preservatives. A lot of us are reacting to those things, especially the way of African descent. What is not nutrition? The next slide, please. Aha. So these are my favorites. You know, when you go in the store, you see the Pringles, the Lay's, the Cheetos, the yogurt, the cake. I'm telling you, some of us are crying, honestly. You know, those are the things we really love. But then, why is there a problem with those things? Those are what we call empty nutrients. Fine, they give us a feel good. That when we eat sugar, we start digesting it from our mouth. Right? We start digesting sugar as soon as it enters our mouth. It goes straight into the blood and you feel good. It also releases hormones called dopamine. That's the feel-good hormone. So when you are feeling sad and down, everything is hard. You are feeling hungry and thirsty. Before you just say, cold bottle of Coke. Inside that one cold bottle of Coke, there are about 8 cubes of sugar, between 8 and 24 in one bottle. So I'll just drink that one bottle of Coke. You know, magic. But what have I taken? Sugar, calories, but no nutrients. So when you see a little baby, you know, some of us, one thing I saw in the church once, I was really disheartened. This child must have been like 2 years old, 2, 3. And the baby was crying, so they were giving Fanta. I said, you're introducing this child to a bad thing, you don't know it. You know, so I just brought to make the picture, and I would look at that packet of Cheetos. Do we know Cheetos? Who knows Cheetos? Please, the small ones. You know Cheetos? So in the family pack, that family pack for Cheetos, the whole packet is 390 grams, right? But then you see there's a trick that the food sector does. If you have less than 5 grams of sugar per serving size, you're allowed to say no added sugar. Now, 1 cube of sugar is 4 grams. So if you have less than 5 grams per serving size, you're allowed to say no added sugar. So in Cheetos, a serving size is 50 grams, right? And this whole packet, the family size, is 390 grams. So in that one packet, there are how many servings? 8 servings. That means you're supposed to finish that packet in 8 days if you eat small. I can finish it in 2 if I'm just nice. Okay, and so per serving size of 50 grams, what they wrote there, carbohydrate is 26 grams. I'm teaching you how to read food labels. Carbohydrate is 26 grams. Fiber is 1 gram. Sugar is 3 grams. So it seems okay. But you see, once you see a deficit, 26 grams of carbohydrates, 1 gram of fiber, 3 grams of sugar. So 3 plus 1 is 4. What happened to the remaining 22? It's in products that when you digest them, will change to sugar. So at the end of the day, really, what have we eaten? We have eaten 26 grams, 25 grams of sugar, 1 gram of fiber. Now, that 26 grams is equivalent to 6 cubes of sugar. 50 grams is like 2 handfuls. Meanwhile, that whole pack, you know, when children come back from school, sometimes, and mommy is not yet home, take Pringles, take chips, take cake, take and eat. And then we don't measure it. So we're just eating. And so we then begin to wonder, even with the adults, we say, we don't eat, I don't eat. What did you eat? I just ate some Lay's. I just ate some Pringles. But we've consumed so much sugar that we do not know. So the next slide, please. So what is healthy living? WHO defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not just the absence of disease. So we don't have to have disease, but we might not be in physical, mental, or social well-being, and so we say our health is impacted. What constitutes health? So I put this weighing scale. On the one hand, I will put balanced diet, adequate physical activity, supplements and vitamins, regular health checks. That is healthful living. Reducing certain foods. I can add it on any side. Sugar, additives, preservatives, very heavy on the other side. Allergies on the other side. And so each one of us here now can decide which side is our own scale falling on. If most of the food you eat comes out of a box, put it on the side of additives and preservatives. If it is things that you see it raw, and then you process it, put it on the side of healthy living. That's a very easy way to help you determine what is healthful eating. Then look on the label. Look at the sugar content. All the juice we drink that they say is a pure orange. Look at it. Each cup is almost like 6 cubes of sugar. But it's healthful living. So, let's begin to learn the gimmicks. So what exactly is healthful living? Next slide, please. Yeah. So I'm talking about physical wellness. In physical wellness, I talk about the food we eat, the water we drink, sometimes even the water. Okay, let me take it one step back. There's something called food security and food safety, world food security, meaning that everybody should get food to eat. Nobody should starve. That's why we have problem in Africa. We don't have food security because we don't process our food. When we go to the farm, we go fishing, we bring our food, we sell it, we eat it. In fact, some households, we say I cook stew every day. I always eat fresh. So, in the season when yam grows, we have yam. In the season when yam does not grow, we find something else to eat. We eat ishokoko. But over here, you will notice that every food is available all year round. It's because we've learned methods of preserving. Now, a lot of us are immigrants. We came here or were born here. But our health-seeking behavior is still of our home country. Meaning that the average person who was born and tutored here understands certain things. Children go for health check. Everybody goes for health check. It's because we know what we are eating. We know that we have put a lot of stuff in it so that we can all eat. However, immigrants come in, and we came from a background where we are like, I reject it. I cannot have sickness. What am I going to the hospital for? I don't have pain. You know, and so we think it's a waste of time. Meanwhile, the mentality over here is it doesn't matter what poison we eat. If you come to the hospital, we'll keep measuring things. When this one has reached a critical level, we'll tell you, stop this, stop that. Or we will give you some medication. But we are from a culture that we don't like the doctor. We pray against the hospital. We don't use medication. Yes, we expose ourselves to what, other people who do all these things do. And we expect the same outcome. It doesn't really work that way. We don't even exercise. We hate it. When I was in Nigeria, I would drive everywhere I need to go. What am I walking around for? Is it even safe to walk? And to join a gym is an elitist thing. So at the end of the day, physical activity wasn't really one of the things we grew up with. However, in my grandfather's day, they would wake up and go to the farm. They will walk the length and breadth of their farms, and they will do physical work. So they ate and they did physical activity. But now we eat and we don't do physical activity. And by the time we are in our 40s and 50s, we talk about back pain, we talk about knee pain, we talk about hypertension, we talk about diabetes. Why? Because we took the Caucasian diet, but we didn't take their lifestyle. Their lifestyle, they'll tell you they're going mountain climbing. They were in Vancouver. How many of us have climbed mountains in Vancouver? Vancouver is surrounded so beautifully by mountains. Thank you. You see, you have to follow. You have to follow his example. How many people walk at least 3 hours every week? Walk 3 hours every week. Good. How many people walk 1 hour per day? That's 7 hours a week. Very good. That's physical. How many of us swim? Swimming is so good. It's full body exercise. We need to swim, and we find it almost free here. We need to go mountain climbing because when we go to heights, we challenge our lungs to function. And so you find out that sometimes, how many of us when did you even climb step last? 3 floors. Climb step to the 3rd floor from downstairs. Most of us take elevator. We're not even getting any exercise. And exercise is important because exercise strengthens our muscles. So when I talk about physical health, I'm talking about food, water, exercise, sleep. How many of us have TV in our bedroom? TV in our bedroom. And you people are good though. No TV in the bedroom. Wonderful. How many of us take our laptop onto the bed?
I don't do that.
Our laptop into our bed. Okay. How many of us watch something on our phone before we sleep? We watch something. We watch something. Okay, so when we talk about sleep hygiene, how many of us have problems sleeping for 6 hours straight? We will wake up and can't sleep again. You know, so sleep hygiene. What is sleep hygiene? It's part of healthy living. It says 2 hours before bedtime you want to shut down screen. Yes. Because the UV radiation from the screen keeps your brain active. So people, especially those who have problems sleeping, you want to shut down before sleep. How many of us, there's a new phenomenon, when we are eating family, we're all on our phone. Daddy is on the phone, or mommy is on the phone. Children, don't put up your hand though. Daddy is on the phone, or mommy is on the phone. Food, nutrition is also the time for family. It's a time to build relationship. It's a time for parents and children. You know why I'm saying that? Because in this environment, it's when we're at home, a child is brought up by the village. But over here, each person brings up their own children. The problem of the youth here is mental health and addiction. And why is that so? When we say mental health, I don't mean the person who didn't comb the hair, is not wearing clothes and is on the street. I mean the person who is having depression. I mean anxiety. I mean children, especially our own, who are obviously black. And the better our neighborhood, the more different the schools they are in. And sometimes these children are at the end of bullying. People are laughing at my accent. People are laughing at my color. But sometimes when you're at a meal with the family, then you can ask, okay, Junior, how was school today? So what happened? Okay, sister, how was school today? What happened? And then you get to know what the children are experiencing. And that way you can attend to some things very quickly. What we call taboo. Depression. When your child is depressed, I remember my father in the days, you are depressed. You are eating, you are drinking, you are depressed. You don't have anything to do. I will give you something to do. Depressed. What are you thinking about? But I was in school in Nigeria. I was black like everybody. I was fat. I was thin like everybody. Nobody could use just my color to give me a problem. If I did well in school, my teacher would say those who got A, B, C, it had nothing to do with my color. So when I got to Canada, I was colorblind. But the people over here are not colorblind. And so we must recognize that our children might have a hard time adjusting. Even to the food. A child that was brought up on jollof rice and dodo may have a problem with lasagna. You know? And so we need to recognize mental health in our children. Even for us, when we're at home, we have people to talk to. I'm having a challenge. Oh, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. But over here, do we live in the same neighborhood? Do we really have friends? When we come to church, we see each other. After Sunday, I don't know how many people see each other from this church. So who am I going to talk to? Who is going to be my burden bearer outside church? And that leads to a lot of depression. It leads to stress. Stress in the home, stress in the body. Nobody to talk to. It's not in our culture. We don't know. We think they will not understand. Do I go to the doctor and tell them, doctor, I'm feeling depressed? Doctor, I'm not happy. Everything is hard. No. We go to, doctor, I'm trying to adjust to the Canadian life. I'm trying to choose a career. It's the counselor and the coach that this environment has specified. Those are things that we're not really used to where we're coming from. So we do not utilize a lot of those services. These things affect health. If I'll give a very, racist, feminist example. If you see a couple and there's tension in the home, let's say, the man is the head and he's always very easy to handle, gets angry very easily. He's probably under pressure. He's probably going through stress. But in our culture, we don't talk. So what have we found out? By the time they're between 45 and 55, a good percentage have hypertension. They have diabetes. Why are women not having it at that time? It's because estrogen protects us. The fact that we are menstruating women means we produce estrogen, and estrogen protects us from heart disease. It does not. Men have testosterone. Testosterone makes you strong and aggressive. It does not protect from heart condition. However, once we cross into menopause, we have the same risk as the men. So if we have been harboring a lot of stress, our risk of illness increases as we grow older. So we need to notice those are also health and healthful living. That's our mental health, our emotional health. What about our weight? I put the calculation there for all of us to take note of. What is my BMI? And weight in kilo over height squared and a height in meters. Most people in this place that I'm seeing are either within normal range or within overweight. And a few of us are crossing into obese. What is the importance of that? For the African, because we are down, we absorb sunlight. So our bones are denser than a white person who lived in the temperate world. Because those of us that were in Africa, but we are now here. There's no sunshine 6 months of the year. And we all need calcium. So what happens? Because we use calcium for muscle activity, for doing all sorts of things, and we were used to producing from the sun and whatever little we eat. When we get here, we tend to have calcium deficiency. How do you know it? Your teeth. First of all, the ease of having holes is higher. Or the teeth cracks when you thought you are chewing chicken like the one we used to do, and then the teeth breaks. It's showing you calcium is going. Or our bones ache. You know that it's in winter we all have bone pain. Because the calcium we missed in summer, we're paying for it now. So what do? We take supplements, and I know we all hate drinking medicine. But we need to, because of the environment we are in. The things that we had easily, we don't have them anymore. Spiritual health and wellness, gratitude, like we did today. Give God thanks. That's one thing. They say that Africa we pray too much. They don't know that's what's keeping us with all our challenges. Gratitude, fellowship, prayer, fasting, meditation. It helps our spiritual fortitude. So they tell you that the Nigerian is in any country in the world where you find Nigerian, they are doing something. If there's no Nigerian in that country, don't worry, there's nothing there. Because we are resilient. A lot of our spiritual fortification makes us resilient. It go better God day. I know my God will do it. What God cannot do does not exist. Next slide, please. So our spiritual fortitude is something we've got right. But then, now, like I said, the risk of heart disease, diabetes, stroke, osteoporosis, and some cancers. What's osteoporosis? Soft bones. One thing that I will tell you, Quaker oats has a lot of phosphorus in it. Phosphorus binds calcium and does not allow the child to get calcium. Babies that are brought up on oats have soft bones. So you see K-leg, you see bone leg. That's how you begin to know. Once you begin to see that in a baby, there's something wrong. They're not getting their calcium. Look at the food. Lots of phosphorus. Especially oats. Binds it. Because we think oats is better than ogi. Actually, it's the opposite. Ogi is better than oats. Especially ogi baba is even best. With some crayfish, it's like kwashi diet. It is wonderful. But oats is, the affluent. But it's not necessarily healthy. Next slide, please. The impact of culture and religion. Our African diet, I've spoken about it. It's very healthy, but it's not necessarily, it's not sweet. Well, our African diet is not based on sugar. It's based on a lot of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are metabolized to sugar. But a lot of vegetable as well. A lot of protein as well. Those are the healthier ones. So when we eat, how we used to eat when we were children, you have a plate, 70% of this is swallow. Then, if you are from the core Yoruba land, they put one small spoon of ewedu, put small salt, and they put plenty oil. And that was, and one tiny piece of meat. You know, but now we have found out that that is a lot of carbs. We need it even when we're going to the farm because carbohydrates is quick to give energy. But if you are sitting in front of a computer from morning till night, or you are driving from your car to your office, then you don't need that much carbohydrates. So you've got to cut it down a lot and fill the plate more with protein and with green because you're not getting the sun. So you need your greens. You're not getting the sun. You need your protein. We are not doing much activity. You don't need much carb. So we have to change the way we do our plates. Our health-seeking behavior, I cannot stress this enough. We are expected from about the age of 35, in fact, even children, your yearly health check. If you haven't gone this year, every woman above 50 should be doing a mammo every year. By the time colonoscopy, meaning they will actually look inside the bowel, at age 50 we should do it, and every 10 years we should do it. For anybody who has a relative that had breast cancer, colon cancer, or any form of cancer, they start 10 years before the rest of the people. And why do we do that? Cancer is a genetic condition, meaning that the cancer I'm susceptible to is different from the cancer the next person is susceptible to. More importantly, it's from within. The doctors have not really found what caused it, but something goes wrong. Over here, we recognize it, and we eat poison, we don't mind. Come to the hospital, let's check. If it's there, let's quickly remove it. But if you eat the same poison and you don't go, what now happens is, we don't recognize it until it's late. So you see a lot, if you look at the statistics, a lot of those people who die from advanced cancers are immigrants because they will not go to the hospital. In fact, when you see, God forbid, breast cancer in a breast, it's not painful. Cancer is a painless condition. And so we find many women, when I was in hospital, madam, look at what you can see 1 centimeter, that's 1 million cells. That is visible means it has probably spread. So the essence of health check is to catch it in the microscopic state. That's when it's treatable. And it's not painful. So when, for instance, one of my patients had a lump in the breast, and we're like, madam, this is breast cancer. We have to remove the breast. And she said, I will die complete. They're not ready to remove it. You know? Or she will say, it's not paining me now. Why do I have to go to the hospital? And then when she gets to the hospital, they say they want to remove the whole breast. I'm like, that means I'm no longer a human being. You know? And many will say, I'd rather die than do that. The same thing with prostatic cancer. It's commoner in African men, and the one in African is more vicious than the one in white. So we need to keep checking. Heart condition, we need to check. So every year, for everybody above 45, you need to do a full comprehensive health check. And normally our health insurance covers it. And we should go. For the children, they also go for health checks, but then they're doing growth analysis. They'll tell you when your child is growing well. They'll tell you, the child is gaining too much weight. But we are very politically correct. We'll not tell you this child is fat. So it's a bit, on the heavy side. It'll be in his best interest. That's how they speak. They won't tell you do this, do that. It'll be in his best interest. Studies have shown I'm inviting you to, cut down a little bit on. They won't say, this child is listening to much sugar. They don't talk like that here. So if you don't get to know how they speak, you think the doctor just said he suggested it. And we hide behind, this was a suggestion. It's not an instruction. Well, they are not direct. No, they're not. No, they don't hit the nail on the head like we are used to. We will tell you, tell me, doctor, what should I do? That's not done here. They just suggest it. Our cultural biases and stigma. Back in the day, if I was hypertensive, it's a secret. It's a family secret. If mommy or daddy has hypertension, it's a family secret. Nobody must know. If it's diabetes, they must not know. So imagine I have a good friend who is diabetic. Diabetic means the person has reacted to sugar. The body is no longer coping. And then we go out, and the person doesn't want to tell me. And I'm eating cake and ice cream and jollof rice, and the person says, I'm fasting today. We are behind that fasting because I can't tell them this is my problem. And then if anything now happens to the person, nobody can help. By the time we get it, a lot of things have been damaged. That's our cultural bias. Stigma. How will it be if they say that I have? The same thing with depression. It's so common. So common now. Anxiety. Anxiety means my heart is beating. Something just happens and I'm like, but there is a way to handle it. We think it's not medication, not necessarily medicine. It's more of therapy. And it's so plenty. The impact of religion. I'm an obstetrician, you know. I deliver babies. I used to deliver babies in Nigeria. And I have many patients who come. I was in Ife. And it's time for cesarean section because the baby is not coming out. Doctor, I reject it. I'm like, madam, don't reject it. This baby's head is stuck. Anyway, by the time the baby dies, and the woman is in a lot of pain, she now accepts it. I still have to do CS for a dead baby anyway. You know? So, after a while, you are like, madam, me, the doctor, if I'm a Christian, rather than reject it, pray for me that everything will go smoothly, that your baby will be fine, that your health will be fine. Don't look at the doctor as if medicine and Christianity, they actually go together. Because after Jesus Christ healed anybody, you say, go and show yourself to the elders. Go and show yourself. The doctor that said they saw something, let them say, it has disappeared. That's very good. But if it is still there, let them help you if God has given them the knowledge and the wisdom to help. Then the next slide, please. So, in addition, what am I saying? A lot of those things that is hidden to us because we are used to things being open. Over here, I will say World Food Safety. What has World Food Safety done? What it has done is it has given a lot of us food to eat. We know genetically GMOs, genetically modified. A lot of us drink oranges. Before, the orange you drink in Nigeria, you'll be throwing out the seed as if plenty seed in this orange. But the orange you drink here, I don't know if you find up to 4 seeds in it. You know, there's something called meatless meat and chickenless chicken. Those are food grown in the lab. You know, all of these things are to ensure that everybody gets food to eat. But there's also a caveat. You get a checkup regularly. So that once your body starts reacting against it, we can catch it quickly. So if you eat it but you don't check, there's a problem. Alright, then supplements, multivitamins. There's something that I found that we use it in the hospital. It's called ginkgo biloba. It's a supplement. If you go into somewhere like London Drug, Rexall, Shoppers, there's an aisle where you see anything that you see behind the pharmacy is medicine. Anyone you see on the shelf is supplement. Supplements, a lot of doctors, we try to disregard it because we say it's not evidence-based or there's not enough evidence. I don't buy that logic because when you use supplements, like you're using calcium, every woman above 50 should be using 2,000 milligrams of calcium every day if you're not using it. Everybody that is African should be using vitamin D and calcium every day because you are not producing it and your body needs it. You know, omega-3 is, when we say cholesterol, anybody who has hypertension, who has hips, bone, that means you are fat. Omega-3 is very good to bring down the dangerous cholesterol. But many times they sell it with omega-6 and 9. 6 and 9 is not good. 3 is good. So there's some things we use called supplement. Calcium is very good to bring down blood pressure because it opens the blood vessels. So people who have hypertension, some calcium will be good for you. Ginkgo biloba, it helps the blood supply to the brain. It opens vessels so that, for instance, me now that I'm reading at this age, in fact, my uncle is 90. He has just got another PhD. He's been on ginkgo biloba for the last 50 years. My dad, who had Alzheimer's, was giving ginkgo biloba in the hospital because it's been known to improve blood supply to the brain. So it improves your ability to remember. When you say I have brain fog, it helps to improve blood supply to the brain. Multivitamins for the children, even for us. Supplements. So people who have problems sleeping, melatonin is a supplement. It improves. That melatonin is a chemical the brain normally produces to help us sleep, to shut down. But some of us are not producing enough melatonin. It's in the eye, it's in the store. Ginkgo biloba. Gin.
we have questions, start writing it down so that she can take our questions.
So I'm rounding up now. So the next slide is what I call healthful living. How do we prioritize it? I have said it, exercise. Exercise, exercise, exercise. Create the opportunity. If you live on the 10th floor, take step. Today, start with step to the first floor. Then upwards or not down to the second. Then enter the lift on the second floor. And do that. You will find out that some of us, when we do one floor, it's because the heart muscle has become weak. It's because, so the heart muscle is not coping, especially when you go upwards. That's why when you go mountain climbing, that's what they're doing. Strengthening the heart muscles. So, exercise. Healthy food. You see all those green ones? Everything in there is healthy. The medications, healthy. The cheese, the cream, eggs, healthy. Those who have lactose intolerance, whenever I drink milk, my stomach is swell. I feel too full. I am bringing out all sorts of gas from below and above. Lactose intolerance, that's what's causing that. We have lactose-free everything, in this country. Then the grain, talk about grain, healthy. What I just mean is fresh. Your cassava is fresh. Even your potato, you can do the potato yourself. But it's when you buy the one in the pack, there's preservative. So if you have a child, lastly, one thing I want you to know, what is allergy? Sometimes it starts from baby. The carpet in the house releases fiber. When some children take that fiber and you just breathe in, it begins to irritate the lungs. And then they tell you, oh, that child had asthma. That's where it starts from. Or the people, like I told you, sugar is the poison. If you when you go out, I'm rounding up now. When we go out and we look at people and we say those ones are drug addicts, we think because they use cocaine, heroin, cigarette, alcohol, marijuana. But how many of us know that sugar is a drug of addiction? You can actually be addicted to sugar. So, my experience again, while I was doing my counseling program, we were treating addiction. And they said, okay, what are the things that you love, that you eat or do? Abstain for 2 weeks. Wow. I said, those my food, yogurt, cake, chocolate, all those mede. I said I will abstain for 2 weeks. Oh my God. I started feeling sorry for addicts after that. I went into a superstore. And as I was passing the aisle, I was just saying, Shola. So I had my basket. I put my yogurt. I put my chocolate biscuits. I put 1 pack of chocolate. And I walked around even bread I put. And I walked around the whole store. And the ice cream I put. After I walked around the whole store. Okay. Oh yeah, all of you. Back on the shelf. Back on the shelf. I put them all back on the shelf and then I left Superstore. I was like, man, that's addiction. So 2 weeks, it was as if I was dying. By the third day, I was just seeing chocolate everywhere. I was seeing biscuits. I was like, Shola, this is a problem. For 2 weeks. But then I understood what addicts go through. We think, oh, just stop it. It's not that easy. They need help. So, I think we're at the end. Last slide. I think that's the last slide. So we need to prioritize healthful living. Question and answer. Thank you for listening so far.
Thank you so much, Mark, for this wonderful time you are giving to us today. So, if you have questions, let's see your hands up so that we give us number. Okay.
In place of supplements, how do we...
Sorry, ma'am. We just want to get the numbers for them. We'll call you one after the other.
What's that?
We call people one after the other.
Sorry,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, okay, I'm giving you number 1 anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. Okay, 6 for now. Okay, ma'am.
Yes, thank you for the session. In place of supplements, because we do find that the health professionals don't support the use of them, how do we identify the nutritional values of natural foods and what we need? We all have different needs for our bodies. So when they prescribe, oh, you have a deficiency of this or that, can we find enough of it in natural foods, or do we always have to have supplements?
It's a mixture of both. Some of us, for instance, anemia. A lot of us, when we black, because of where we're coming from, our blood, especially menstruating women, is not as much as the white. Whenever we go to the hospital, they tell us we have low white blood count, we have low PCV, because it's adapted for Africa, not for here. So when you now want to do, if you don't want to use supplements, if you don't want to use iron, at home what we used to do for pregnant women is that they blend ugu raw and they drink. So green is very good in iron. So for those who it's a blood thing, iron, green, look for your ugu. The fresher the better. Blend it, don't cook it and drink. That's your smoothie. The same thing with walnuts. You know, there are many foods in those grain, whole grain, that we blend and we drink. We don't cook it, eat it fresh. So over here they can make salad. You know, they cut all the vegetable, make salad. You can take the same thing and blend it and drink. It will help a lot. But there are certain things that the body now, being a machine, determines how much it can absorb per time. So sometimes the body is not absorbing it. And so you find out that you need support. All those medications are done in such a way that when you drink it in your mouth, and so your absorption starts in the mouth and it goes all the way through the bowel. So the mouth will absorb glucose. In the stomach is acidic. There are some medications that will not melt in the stomach. They enter into the intestines, which is alkaline, before they melt. But some of us have peptic ulcer. Some of us, stress is killing us with cortisol hormone. So even when the stomach sees the thing, you can't even absorb it. You know. So sometimes it might work to take natural food that we know is rich in certain things we are lacking. But if we try that and it doesn't work, now you try that for a long time, like 3 months. It's not a 1 week thing because it's not medication. If it doesn't work, you can move to supplements. If it's something we need in a hurry, then we use medication, which is the medicine that the doctor prescribes. You get that? Yeah. So there are options.
Yeah, my own question is, can we have photocopy of the slide?
Yes, I sent it to...
I think the IT sector will help us drop it on the church platform. So we have it on the church WhatsApp. Please help us put on church WhatsApp. Thank you.
Sir.
Yeah, my own question with this. When I came into Canada here, first 2 months I had a sugar spike. So I met the doctor. So he said, okay, you have to get sweetener. You know? So he gave me some of these sweeteners I use because I have addiction for coffee, right? Then it is stabilized. But sometimes, anytime I eat any of these bread, here I still have the same problem. So I cut off the bread. My question is this coffee mate, because I've been using coffee mates with my coffee. Although I've not got the spikes as I would think, but I still feel that something is still wrong. What exactly do I take with my coffee raw? That's my own question. Then I have another problem with sleeping. You mentioned something melatonin. Can I have this spelling because I really need it? And I discovered that too. It's another addiction because I would like to watch news late in the night. So I try to curtail it. But sleep is one of my problems now. Thank you.
Okay. So the sugar spike. Okay. Let me say something. Your weight, when you get home, weight over height squared.
Yeah, I'm a bit off.
So once that's number one. Yes. You need to bring it down. When you get it's amazing you find out the low cream, because I know that coffee made. Yes. There are 2 types, low cream and regular cream. Yeah. Okay. Low cream has less cream but more sugar. Jesus. The normal cream has cream but less sugar. So always look at the label. Whenever you see carbohydrates, especially once you are sensitive to sugar, what is the total carbohydrate? Then they will write fiber, they will write sugar. You see it won't balance.
Yes.
Once you see it's a lot, it's sugar. It's going to turn to sugar in the body. Okay. And it's going to spike. Now, what is called glycemic index is there are some food like sweet potato. Even though it tastes sweet, It's great because the sweetness is in the fiber and it takes a long time to digest, so it doesn't spike sugar. Everything carbohydrate, bread, everything carbohydrate spikes sugar.
What about the Irish potato?
Irish potato is not as healthy as sweet potato. You know, it's also, so what happens is once you have that, your plate should be greens, vegetable, and protein. Because you are too sensitive to carbs. And if you don't watch it, then we're looking, that's the road to diabetes. You know, and heart conditions and plaques. And one last thing, when you stand against the wall like this, bum against the wall, head against the wall, that is upright posture. If you have heavy hair, your knees are at risk. If you are here, your spine is at risk. So when we're exercising, you know, we need to know what to target and what to get rid of because it's not helping us. You know, and then sugar. So you need to join me in my addiction recovery plan for sugar.
What about the melatonin?
Melatonin, MELATONIN.
Okay, N-I-N.
Yes, it's a supplement, it's a brain chemical. That's what rises when we want to sleep. When we don't have enough, we have problems sleeping.
Mr. Tosin, before we
my own is kind of funny. So what would you recommend, ma, for back pain?
Back pain.
Back pain.
So for back pain, it depends. First of all, the causes of back pain. First is poor posture. How do you stand? Do you stand straight? Do you bend? Do you do this? Do you do this? All of that puts pressure on the back. Second is the density of your bone. As a man with testosterone, normally your bones should be stronger. But one thing that we find is that sometimes it's not. Because sometimes our diet, alcohol doesn't allow calcium. A lot of Quaker oats in your life, or oatmeal, or wheat, or some of those foods bind the calcium, so they don't allow you. So if you notice that your back aches and you have a lot of holes in your teeth that dentist has worked on, calcium is a problem. You're not getting the calcium. So you might benefit from using calcium as a supplement. Then if you're somebody who doesn't drink milk, I don't drink milk, I don't eat cheese, I don't eat egg, all those white things, calcium, they're loaded with calcium. But there's only a certain amount your body can take, but they're loaded with calcium. You know, we don't eat chicken bone, calcium. So backache, posture, calcium, weakness, big tummy is pulling the spine, disturbing the back. And then lack of exercise.
Okay, no worries. So, Bro Tosin, save the other one. You can see that for me. Mrs. Secretary here.
Back home, like you said, addiction. I'm addicted to rice. I can eat any form of color. Right, white rice, yellow rice, any kind of rice. I eat. So getting to Canada, I discovered that somebody told me that if you eat rice too much, you have to cut it down. It's like putting knife on my neck because I can't cut it. So I tried to reduce it. When I checked my blood pressure, it was 4. So I was now wondering, this thing I used to, everything I'm eating, I eat it back home. So anything they eat here, I don't want this burger, stuff like that. It's not my kind of food. But sometimes I eat it. But the most food I eat is my local food. I'm a local person. But when I checked my BP, it was hot. So I was wondering, okay, what could cause the...
So rice is a carbohydrate. A lot of rice we eat is polished rice, so it's processed food. So it's going to become sugar in our body, right? But that's not the blood pressure high. We call it essential because at first we don't know what's causing it. But at the bottom of everything is stress. Stress is the foundation of the house. So look for stress in your life, in your mind, anxiety. Anxiety is a huge stressor. lack of sleep is a huge stressor. Even distress. The children, and going to swim today, football tomorrow, all those things we do, sometimes stressor. I'm thinking about the people at home, stressor. I'm looking at my bills, stressor. When it comes to the blood pressure, stress is the number one cause. Even in your workplace, I'm afraid that they will sack me today. I'm afraid that I will not do. Maybe they will not understand my English. Anxiety. And it stays in the body and shows up as stress because you look quite young. So there's no good reason why your blood pressure should be up. And then family. If my parents have it, it means I'm susceptible. So while if my parents have hypertension, for instance, at 30-something, I can get it because it's in my genes. Meanwhile, if my parents at 100 never had it, no matter the stress you put me through, I may not have it. So susceptibility is also important. But once the blood pressure is up, it doesn't go down. So medication and lifestyle. If you are very fat now, weight causes it. I'll say first go and lose some weight. But once I've checked it twice on different occasions and it's high, 135, 85 high, I use medication. Because at the beginning of hypertension, it's just the vessel, it's just the BP. But if it's not properly managed, then it affects the heart. And then it now becomes hypertensive heart disease. And that means it's progressing in seriousness. But it can remain basic for life if we manage it well. So first, mindfulness, that's spiritual wellness. Go and sit down and say, what's stressing me? What's my stress? And then begin to remove them from your life one by one. I assure you of one thing, nobody is going to die if you remove their stress from your life. If you tell the children, come here, Junior, rice is in the fridge, go and warm it, put it inside microwave for you and your younger ones. Me, I want to rest. You will rest. Husband, my dear, we're in Canada. What I love about Canada, we share this thing. My darling, please pick 2 days in the week when you will be cooking. Because I want to sleep. I need to sleep. So that I can serve the rest of the family better. And husband, men are strong now.
Yeah, you didn't put up your hand in the first place, I'm coming, so it's not that. I want to agree with you that this thing can be very genetic. Yeah. And I know of a woman, she's still very alive. And they were in church back in Nigeria, and she's one of the members of the church. Her BP has never come down below 208, 195, 107. 208 over 195, 107. So everybody is saying, are you still alive? Are you a ghost? How is it possible? So many times whenever she went to the hospital to go and check, the doctors are always asking, we can't allow you to go home now. And they say, hey man, no, this is the way I've been living for years. She's still living. And the BP, the number there is always above 200 over 197, 198, 195. The lowest can be 207 over 195 or 197. Or it is not below that, above that. But it's very okay. So it can be mysterious at times to me. May God help us.
True, genetics plays a lot. Severe hypertension like that, sometimes, in fact, renal kidney problem can lead to hypertension. So hypertension can be essential, meaning we can't do all the tests, we can't really find it. Because if I'm anxious and I'm worried, there's no test they do in the hospital that can diagnose the amount of anxiety or worry or stress. But some people have other reasons that causes their BP to be high, and it's always a risk. And then there's some people, we call it white coat hypertension. When they come to the hospital and they measure their BP is high, when they go back home and they measure it, it's okay. And those people, we say, okay, it's the fear that caused the hypertension. But some doctors doctors will give medicine, some will not. The danger, it's called white coat hypertension, is one of the most dangerous forms of hypertension because it makes you feel, I don't have. And when the crisis comes, then it's, the person who has had a stroke is the recovery that is remaining. Then it damages the heart because hypertension means high pressure, meaning my heart has to pump very hard to get blood all over me. And any muscle that you are straining so hard, after a while, it gives up. And that becomes hypertensive heart disease. So white coat hypertension is very dangerous.
Thank you. I want to know sugar rush. The babies, they said it intoxicates, sugar intoxicates. I want to know how true it is. That's number one. Then number two, what should be the level of caffeine in our body? Because some people take too much of energy drink and it has high content of caffeine. What should be the level? And how everybody needs caffeine?
So, two things. Sugar rush. I told you sugar is a drug of addiction. So when we start, now, breast milk is baby's best food for the first 6 months. Every woman can do it. After that, add other food. But if you look, all the baby food, there's this thing with Nestle now. In certain countries, they add sugar. In other countries, they don't add sugar. Baby food is not supposed to have sugar. But when we start, our breast milk is not sweet. So babies are not nurtured with sugar, right? But then, when we are now rich, we use SMU good. Me and my baby is drinking SMU. It's our ignorance that is killing us. Because we are bringing them up with sugar. And so after a while, the baby sugar is... Okay, so why is sugar a drug of addiction? In our brain, there's something called the feel-good hormone. Dopamine. Sugar stimulates that center to spike the feel-good hormone. So when I'm feeling sad and down, if I take some sugar, I begin to glow again. So I recognize, that's why if I'm very hungry or thirsty, I just see a full bottle of Coke because it is sugar. And so that's why a baby will have sugar rush. Because I told you, some of us, our babies, even before they are walking, we are giving them small Fanta. Drink sugar. We're training their body to process, to depend on sugar. And so if you give a baby something that is not sweet, the baby will probably cry, I don't like this one. Meanwhile, if you never train the child on sugar, they would love whatever you give them. And then caffeine. Caffeine is also a drug of addiction. Caffeine, when you drink coffee, you feel good. It jazzes you up, you feel energy. They say 2 cups of coffee a day. Try and reduce it to 1 or 2 cups of coffee a day. But then some of us work night shift. So, some of us, coffee is a stimulant. It stimulates your brain to remain active and awake. But then the problem now, how do you know you're having too much coffee? Your hand starts shaking. You know that I have tremor. That's excess caffeine in the blood. Or I can't sleep, I'm having headaches. That's excess caffeine in the blood. So if you're somebody who takes coffee a lot, or the day I don't drink coffee, it's as if my body has not woken up. I'm just dull. Then you know that you are addicted. And you now need to start watering it down. So you can start with things like decaffeinated. Because it's the caffeine in the coffee that is addictive. So you can start with decaffeinated, step it down. Because it's very hard to stop anything we're addicted to. Just to stop like that is almost impossible. It's very hard. But start taking it down, taking it down, taking it down. Until you get to that point where you no longer shake. Where you no longer have headaches. Where, you can actually function even if you don't take it. Then you know you have overcome the addiction.
Thank you, man.
I just want to ask, what's the difference between free-range eggs and
White egg and brown. They're used to brown egg.
So, free range, I had a friend in Nigeria, he had a farm. So he told me that every morning he will go to the farm the egg poultry and gather the eggs. So I was like, so one day he came to Ife and he was like, oh, he needs somebody to go and gather the eggs. And I'm like, okay, so if they don't gather it and the chicken sits on it, it will, you know that when I was a child, when the chicken lay egg and they sit on it will hatch and another chicken will come out. And that's not the kind of egg this again. You see the egg now, chicken don't sit on it to hatch. That's not how chicken. Now they give chicken feed that stimulates egg production. And after the chicken is a certain age and not producing again, then they call it old layer and they sell it to us with old layer. Now, so that's one level. Over here, you see that where is the farm? When you see chicken poultry, the one they call free range means somewhere somebody had a farm and allows chicken to run around and to move around, and they have energy, and then they reduce the amount of egg stimulation production in their body. You know, so the more natural the egg, the real egg of those days was a cock and a hen produced an egg. That's not how we do it again. But so those kind of eggs that the chicken actually lived somewhere and were running and were exercising and were naturally producing, a lot of them are called free range. The color just depends on the feed of the chicken. You know, so depends on. So that's why there are different kind of eggs, different kind of taste, different kind of color. The less artificial our food is, but and then you will find out that those ones are more expensive than the other one. So we will eat eggless egg.
Praise the Lord. Lastly,
Last one.
Okay, let me call.
I just wanted to ask, what's the daily advice, like exercise for anybody?
Everybody. Okay, we say the minimum 20 minutes a day. Better still, if you can, 40 minutes a day. Irrespective of the kind of exercise. If it's going up and down the steps, if it's getting up 2 bus stops before your house and walking the rest of the way, move your body. Because we need to move things around in our body. If you swim, the children, for instance, because they're growing, you need more energy. You are losing a lot of energy to grow. So exercise helps them not to retain fat, because they also eat more junk than we do. And so it helps to build muscle. Exercise builds muscle and you grow better. Your bones grow stronger, especially at a younger age.
Thank you. Baba?
Yeah, just the last question. When you see some of these drinks, you say zero sugar. Zero sugar. But when you taste it, it's sweet. I don't drink them, but I'm just kind of curious. You know, what's happening? What's wrong?
Anything less than 5 grams per serving size can write zero sugar or no added sugar. So when you now look at the serving size, you will find out that in a box of juice, there may be 10 serving size. For you and I, between both of us, we finish 1 box. In fact, when we go to party, we give everybody 1 box. So we are eating 6 servings. So once if I put 4.5 grams of sugar in the serving size, I am allowed to write no added sugar. That's why you have to read the label. So in some things you read the label, you now see carbohydrates in serving size 26. And then you see fiber 1, sugar 5. The difference is other things added that the body will break down to sugar. But because I didn't put it as sugar, I'm allowed to say there's no sugar in it. Fructose corn syrup is like thick honey. It's like it's 1 drop of it is sweetening everything. It's sugar. Our body sees it as sugar. So we tend to drink a lot of it, thinking we are not taking sugar, but we're actually taking a lot of sugar. Even the energy drink. You know, energy drink is, I'm running marathon and I'm getting hypo, because the first thing my body breaks down for energy is carbohydrates. So my blood is short of sugar and I'm tired. If I take an energy drink, my mouth starts absorbing sugar. Sugar's absorption. So eventually it will go to my brain wakes up. So energy drinks have a lot of sugar in them. But it's assumed that you are running a marathon, so you need it because you will burn it. But if I'm just going to work and I'm drinking it, then I'm taking a lot of sugar.
Thank you so much. Let's put our hands together for mommy. Thank you so much for coming back home to give back to the society. A proud Anglican for that matter. Put up your hands together and appreciate mommy. We are so much blessed to have you today. And without wasting one of our time, on behalf of Mama Actbc, I want to invite Dr. Mrs. Mushopefa Gombe to give a vote of thanks on behalf of the church tomorrow. Thanks together.
Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. I'm sure everyone, children, adults, men, women, grandma, grandpa, we all took something out of this talk today. It is very important, and I think we'll make use of some of those nuggets that we got in our lives every day. One thing that stood out for me is the fact that we have to have checkups. Since we are here, we are taking the food here, we have to have checkups. Don't take it for granted. Just go, tell your doctor you need a physical. They'll give you all the tests that you need. So it's important that we take those things to heart. We want to thank Dr. Mrs. Shola Oyekunle because I never met her until today, but we've been talking, and has she been great? Thank you very much for your time. May the Lord continue to bless and keep you. Amen. May He give you wisdom. May He lift you up as you have come into this country. You will do great and mighty things. May God bless you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, on behalf of the Women Organization of Anglican Church of Trinity, BC, New West BC, we want to appreciate you, Dr. Mrs. Olushola Oyekunle. Thank you for coming to our church. And thank you. We want to bring you back to Anglican Church. What God wants to use in Anglican Church. Don't go outside anymore. You are welcome. On behalf of the women, say thank you. God bless you.
Well, mommy, just to add to what Mama Actbc said, you mentioned something that is very, very sacrosanct. You mentioned the Anglican worship, especially one of the things we enjoy most is the hymn singing. Now, in this church, we have a bi-monthly what we call community hymn singing, which is one of the areas we are trying to also train ourselves more and also to worship God. So I know somebody is taking off for November, but on behalf of the rector and all the clergy of the church, one of these days we are going to invite you to be the host of the community hymn singing, and we host it in this church. And thank you so much. Put your hands together for mommy. Mommy, you are welcome. We are all blessed in Jesus' name. Let's prepare our offering, thanksgiving, tithes, donations right now. And I will invite the Reverend Emmy Basigye to pray on our offering, and then we bring them forward. Reverend Emmy.